James Borrego is the 11th head coach in Charlotte franchise history. From his time as a coach in San Antonio, New Orleans, and Orlando, he has been part of teams that have ascended to the highest levels of success in our league and understands what it takes to win in the NBA.
Welcome to the Hornets.com Coaches Show. This is something new for this season. I'm Matt Rochinski, joined by Chris Kroeger. Chris will be hosting this solo when we're on the road. We're going to try and do this with Coach James Borrego every Tuesday. We're going to try and put one of these up. Something new in our history of getting content out there to our fans.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think JB's got a lot to offer. I think it's a great look to kind of go behind the scenes, get some insight, and see what's going on the bench for our Hornets team.
Yeah, and that's kind of the format that we're going to use for this, folks. We're just going to sit down with Coach. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what's been going on, what to look forward to, and we're going to talk to him some off the court. We got to get to know our coach off the court a little more as the season kind of rolls on. We'll also have guests on here periodically. Today we're going to have a great one, and GM Mitch Kupchak is going to be joining us. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. But first off, Krogs, 4-1 to start the preseason. I know it's only preseason, but still, we got to be pretty excited, right?
Yeah, I think there's things you look to. I always say process over results in the preseason. That being said, you like the results 4-1, like you said. But yeah, I think when you look at the way this team wanted to play coming into this offseason, then you got through summer league, you started to see the glimpses of that, went through training camp, then into preseason play, and every step along the way, they've done what JB has asked of this team, which is let's play with a faster pace, let's spread the court, let's play 5 out predominantly on offense, and let's share the basketball and get more threes up and be more specific about where those shot locations are on the floor. And they've done all those things, and it's led to results. So you get the process and the results, but I think you got to love the way this team's responding right now going into the season.
All right, we're definitely going to look into that for all you fans once we sit JB and Mitch down. But I got to ask you, what has been the most exciting thing for the preseason for you watching this team? Calling games, because we know Chris Kroeger is now on the radio. He's killing it. Got through the preseason himself. He's ready for the regular season.
We made it out alive. So no, I was able to do all 5 preseason games, and I think for me, without a doubt, it's Miles Bridges. Yep. And we've literally gone through every single game, and he's delivered a highlight reel dunk. He's on average for like 1.5 a game right now. So if you're a Hornets fan, I think Miles is a human highlight reel. You know, the dunk contest is here in February for All-Star Weekend. I just think you got to have him. He's a guy I think we're going to be saying, let's get his name into that conversation. But he's been a joy to watch. And, you know, he's 20 years old. He's mature for a 20-year-old. And I think he's still got some things to grow and learn with his game. But I've been impressed with just how he stepped in as a rookie so far.
Yeah, I know Aaron Pitzenberger up in our social media is absolutely thrilled having Miles Bridges.
Highlights everywhere.
Highlights everywhere, blowing up the internet, breaking social media. We like to see it. Actually, let's take a look at Miles' highlight clip from the preseason.
Does it again. Spots up for 3. Kicks it to the corner. Miles Bridges' 3 is pure. Guess what? Swatted away by Miles Bridges. It's low. Blocked away by Bridges. Kemba Walker. Man, he's showing off the handles. In transition. Miles Bridges with the lob.
Wow. Highlight SportsCenter.
Welcome back to the Hornets.com Coaches Show. We're joined now by President of Basketball Operations and General Manager Mitch Kupchak. We were talking earlier, Mitch, is this like a director? Is this like an executive producer getting ready to put out that movie knowing that opening night is on Wednesday? You finally got all the pieces in place. How excited are you for
Yeah, it is exciting. We started with a new coaching staff and medical staff. Then we moved upstairs and made some changes with the analytics and scouting scouting. And so it started back in May, and then the players and the draft and a couple of trades and a couple of free agency. And before you know it, you're in summer league, and then the end of July, and here it is, 3 months after the end of summer league, and we have our first game in 2 days. So it's kind of like been a period when you've got a lot of work, a lot happening, and now you can really just focus on a game.
I think for fans who obviously don't get to be around it day to day, there's a real energy around this program right now. And, you come in and, you make some staff changes, but you also left some folks in place too. And so to see this culture kind of galvanize and come together and watch it on the court too in the preseason, and the players are responding to this coaching staff. I think to this point, we'll see what the results are on the court, but I think this has gone as smooth as you probably could have imagined over the last few months.
It's been great. The Coach Borrego, from the day we hired him, was really keen on his vision of what he wanted, what kind of team he wanted, how he wanted to play, how he wanted to run the gym. Getting players involved in July and August, and it's been said enough times. Really, the gym has been just full of activity and energy since the middle of July. So it's been great, and Coach has been great. We do have a bunch of games to play. We have a home opener that's not going to be easy, and then we're on the road for 4 games. I think our schedule is in our favor a little bit at the beginning of the season, which I think is good for a team with a new coach, trying to get off to a good start.
Obviously there's a lot of transition that's happened over the course of the offseason. You talk about how good JB has been with that transition. What about the players themselves and how they've handled the transition to get to the point that they are at now?
They've brought in, the fact that they were here, early in July and August and September, and we can't make them come here. There's a collective bargaining agreement in place. Their summers are basically theirs to do what they want to do with it. We can have the rookies come in and participate in summer league, and we did have last year's rookies come in and participate in summer league. Unfortunately, Malik got hurt first game of the season in Vegas, so that set him back a little bit. But the veterans, they're the ones that have been coming in on a regular basis, and that's been exciting. It's been really, I've never seen it before. And I've been in this business for quite some time, that kind of buy-in that quickly by so many players.
What do you attribute that to? I think part of that could be obviously everything up for grabs. JB had said coming into this preseason, only Kemba's spot was certainly a starter. So I think maybe that's a part of it. But other than that, what do you think you could attribute that to?
From what I understand, a lot of the players stay in Charlotte during the offseason, and I think that's a tribute to the city of Charlotte. They like it here. They make this their off-season home, and we have a great facility, something that didn't really exist 20, 30 years ago, a place to go work out on a daily basis with trainers and a weight room and the hot tub and the cold tub, and getting injuries taken care of. So if you live in Charlotte, this is a great place that's available. I think that's a big plus, the fact that Charlotte is such a livable and attractive city to our players. Of course, a new coach. Players want to get off on the right foot. With the new coach, they all want to earn playing time. And I think lastly, the last 2 years, I think we won 36, 38 games a year. I think they're tired of losing. And this is something new. It's a new start. And that's a credit to the players, that they're looking at this as an opportunity to, hey, I don't want to lose anymore. I want to start working with a new coach, new staff. Let's go.
Since you've taken this job, you've been extremely transparent with the Charlotte fans, just saying this is what we want to do, this is how we want to build our team. When you decided to start building a staff and bringing JB in, we said we wanted to play a certain way. In the course of the preseason, we've really seen that new style of offense really showcased. For you, as you've seen it kind of develop, what was it that enabled the players to kind of really embrace that so quickly? Is it because they like to get up and down the court? Is it because of the new coach?
I think they do like to get up and down the court. Today's player and the way the game has been shaped, a lot of it, has a credit to the NBA. Years and years ago, in the paint, it was just a big wrestling match. And over the last 15, 20 years, they've done a really good job of understanding that these players, are so gifted, not only athletically, but their skill level, and the fans sit so close to the court. It transfers to television, instant replay, and I think the NBA said, hey, listen, we got something special here. So let's make sure that we can showcase, not only their athletic ability, but the just ridiculous skill that these players have. So. That's the way the game is. I think it's fun to watch. I think people, by and large, love to watch the game, and I think our players like to play that way.
Mitch, you thought highly of Miles and Devontae. That's why you drafted him. You traded up to get Devontae and make sure you secured him with that 34th pick. But seeing him on the court, seeing him throughout the summer, I don't know what you thought about him expectation-wise coming into this year, but how was that stacked up so far through the first few months?
He's played like I've expected him to play. He's a 4-year starter at Kansas, and when you're a 4-year guy, you should have a presence and a sense of maturity to your game that the younger players that come out in the draft don't have. He's made some shots, which I didn't really expect. I knew he could run the show. I knew he could, make some mid-range shots, and I knew he had good size and defend, and I knew he had a certain presence about him. But he has made some shots, which I think's been a pleasant surprise. But he's performed like we thought he would.
And what about Miles, too? Because obviously he's been explosive. Is that something that you really saw in him when you guys?
Yeah, he's one of those players that has a little gold dust sprinkled on him at some point in his life where God gave him some abilities that allow him to attack the rim, move his feet, run the floor. He's clearly worked on his body and his strength, from the weight room. He lost weight in college, and a lot of that was by design, and then he picked up strength, which was hard work. But the one thing about Miles that is a credit to him is his skill level. He has a great feel for the game. He can rebound the ball, bring it up the court, and he can make a play. He can see things, before they develop. He made a backdoor pass, I think, the game in Dallas. That was just, that's not something that just happens. That comes through, watching film and playing the game and understanding the game. The one thing, and I've talked to him about it, is he's a good shooter now. If he can become a great shooter, and there's no reason why he can't, because he has a great-looking stroke. If he can become a great shooter, now it's going to be tough for guys to step off him. And if they step up on him with his athletic ability, he can blow past them and either make a play for himself or make a play for somebody else. So I'm a little bit surprised with his skill level is as high as it is.
You hate to put expectations or say, hey, he's got to do this as a rookie, but I look at him and I say first or second team, all rookie team. I think those are realistic goals for a guy like Miles. Would you agree?
I think first team, all rookie, why not rookie of the year? I think they're all realistic. He's got the package to do it. But most importantly, it's about getting on the court, getting some playing time, showing the coach that you're worthy, and winning games. The rest of that stuff will come. I think if you went to him and said he can be Rookie of the Year, or you can make second team or rookie team, but we're going to advance in the playoffs, I think he'd say I'd rather advance in the playoffs.
All right, tell us real quick before we go to break about Mitch Kupchak. Is there anxiety, is there nerves at this point in your career as you get ready for another opening night?
I'm anxious, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that ever goes away, whether it's the opening of your college or high school or pro or the opening play on Broadway. There's something about opening night that, is special. Our record's 0-0. You're not trying to make up for a bad game 2 nights ago, or you're not worried about winning 3 in a row and the team having a letdown. It's a blank slate. And the team we're playing against is a really, really good team that I think can contend for the Eastern Conference crown. So it'll be a good test for us. I'm excited. I think, or hopefully our fans come out and they can get into it, because, that first game with the players, it's up to them to create their own energy. But if there's energy in the building, it only helps.
Well, hopefully our fans come on and create that energy. Thank you so much for joining us, Mitch. When we come back from break, we'll be joined by head coach James Borrego.
We all have high expectations for Malik this year, and obviously he's been in the building all summer. Shooters got to shoot.
Be here. To get your 2018 season membership, call 704-HORNETS. This is Buzz City.
We're back from break on the Hornets.com Coaches Show. We're being joined now by Coach James Borrego. In just a day, we'll be starting things for real. The regular season is upon us. How excited are you for this, Coach?
I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm anxious. Got the butterflies going a little bit, but I think our guys more than anything they're excited. They're tired of playing against each other, tired of banging heads. They want to play against somebody else in a regular season game. I think we've had a good preseason. We're prepared. We're ready. We're going to learn along the way here as we go, but so far we're off to a good start.
As teams responded to you, your coaching staff, and you've even remarked you get a full year sometimes before a team will actually buy in and start really acting on what you guys are trying to bring out of them. So what do you attribute that to, that buy-in's there so early?
Yeah, I think it starts with Kemba. It starts there. He fuels us. He's the head of the snake, and I think that relationship between he and I, and the entire roster is the main piece. And it started this summer. We spent a lot of time together, talking basketball, talking life. There was a comfort level between all of us. He understood my vision for the team, but it was a part of, partly that was his vision as well. I wanted to include him in all this process, and once he and I sat down, we connected. This is how we want to play. The ball's going to move. Multiple guys are going to handle it. You're going to be off the ball some. You're going to be on the ball some. But we want to be dynamic. We want everybody to touch it, move it. And I think it's spread. The guys have caught on to it. And it is really a fun way to play basketball. When you think about it, when you watch the fun teams out there, the exciting teams, even the Warriors and the Spurs, those teams, they share the ball, they move the ball. All five guys have the potential to score, shoot the ball, and we trust them to do that. But it really started with the type of character that Kemba has, and the buy-in from there is what started it all.
Kemba, obviously, you say he's the head of the snake, but the other guys kind of follow suit, and they really kind of mirror him. For you, when you're looking at what Kemba's been able to do, especially in this preseason, you changed the way we're playing basketball. How is this going to benefit him more and really open up things for him to build on 2 consecutive All-Star years?
Well, I think for him, hopefully he stays a little more fresh throughout the game, throughout the season, that he's not having to create every advantage for us every single night. That should free him up to make plays off the ball, catch and shoot threes, stay fresh down the stretch. I don't know where his numbers will be at the end of the day. My goal is that this is his best season as an NBA player. I want that for him. He deserves that. He's put in the work, the time. This is his time. But ultimately, he wants to win. And I think this role, this style we're playing, offers him the best chance to win. And that's all he cares about at the end of the day. And I think down the stretch in fourth quarters, this allows him to stay a little more fresh, a little more ready. And other teams are guessing about what we're about to do, what we're trying to do. That it's not just load up and gear up for Kemba Walker. There's other threats out there. And if you want to do that, we got to make them pay.
One of the other players that you inherited who has gotten better each and every year, his scoring totals have improved over each of the last 4 years, Jeremy Lamb. And he was Kemba's teammate at UConn, and you've seen a maturity for him now as he's going into, year number 7 in the NBA for him. So what is it about him that you have been impressed with, and then that he's even taken to the next level since you've taken over the last few months?
Well, I think I didn't know Jeremy before I got here. I liked him on film. I've liked him from afar, as a coach. But until you're around someone, you don't really know. And once I got around him, I understood who he was as a person, as a player, what he valued, what he cared about, what type of player he wanted to be. And I started to look back at his numbers, kind of track where he has been, talking to some other people that have coached him and been around him. He is a worker. At the end of the day, he is a worker. He was in our gym all summer. He probably logged as many minutes in that gym as much as anybody on our roster. year. So I saw a real buy-in from the beginning. I saw someone that was committed to our team, and that set the tone for our relationship again. And, you know, I like his length. I like his playmaking ability. He can shoot the ball. You know, I've said from day one, since I got this job, we wanted shooting on the floor. We want to make it, you know, we want to open up the floor for Kemba Walker and for all our guys, not just Kemba, but everybody. And Lamb provides us shooting. He's a much more willing passer than I thought, much more capable playmaker than I thought, and a much better rebounder than I thought. So, you know, he's going after rebounds. I'm challenging him every night to defend. There's a pride about him now defensively. He understands that now, being in that starting unit, what comes with that. There's a major responsibility now on his shoulders to defend every single night, and we're helping him with that. He's a work in progress defensively, but I see him working and trying. We're going to put him on the ball many nights, take Kemba off the ball defensively. Some numbers that stood out to me last year where Kemba ran, I believe, the most pick and rolls on offense, on the offensive end, then he guarded the second most pick and rolls defensively. That's asking a lot of Kemba Walker, and then say, go close for us, Kemba, in the fourth quarter.
It's in the entire NBA.
That's in the entire NBA that he was on the ball handling and defending throughout the season on both ends. So we want to limit that a little bit for him. That way, down the stretch, we're in position where he's fresh. But Lamb's a big part of this, sort of allowing Kemba to play off the ball some. So far, I've enjoyed, you know, coaching Jeremy, and I think he's got an upside here. He's not done yet. This isn't a finished product. He's only going to get better.
We know any coach is going to love coaching those multi-tool players. You have one here in Nick Batum who's looking for a bounce-back season. Throughout the preseason, he looks like he's fitting in really well, and this is really shaped. Your offense, your defense is really shaped around Nick's game. What are you expecting from Nick this year?
Well, you know, it starts with his urgency and aggressiveness. I've challenged him from day one, and bringing Tony Parker here has been a major part of this, is just challenge him to be more aggressive, more assertive, almost more selfish in some ways, because he has the ability, he has the talent, the size. You know, when I was in San Antonio, we valued that kid. We really liked him from afar. We may have even tried to get him a few times, you know, out of Portland, but he was a defender. I remember him as a really good defender in Portland, as a rebounder, a guy that could pass, that could shoot, that could get to the rim. And, you know, maybe he has lost that a little bit over the last couple of years, and maybe the expectations were too high. But at the end of the day, I know he's a very good player, and we need him to be a very good player to be a good team. So the ball's going to be in his hands as well. That first unit, you could see the ball in his hands in the first quarter a number of times, where he's finding shooters. He's capable of seeing over the defense. You know, he can shoot the ball. I expect his numbers to go up from the three-point line. But I think a lot of that starts with his defense and his rebounding. If he rebounds for us, he pushes the break. He starts our offense, and it wouldn't surprise me this season if he didn't lead us in rebounding. He's capable of leading us in rebounding and assist. So, yeah, there is pressure on him, and we're putting a lot on him, but he's more than capable of handling it. And I think the style we're playing, the roster around him, he's much more comfortable maybe than he's been in the last couple of years, and I expect that to continue, especially early on this season.
I know you're focused on your team, your squad, the way you want to play, but as we get close to this season, looking up and down the Eastern Conference, I think everybody knows Toronto and Boston should be a force. Philly's a young team on the rise, but what are realistic expectations for you guys, and how do you see the rest of the Eastern Conference shaking out? Because I think there is some muddled middle where there are a lot of teams that feel like, hey, we can play our style and we can be a factor in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I believe we can be a factor. The word I've used is relevant in the Eastern Conference. I don't really know where that puts us as far as a number. There's so many factors that go into having a successful season. In my time in San Antonio, we never went into a season knowing we're going to win an NBA championship. We knew we were going to be competitive, but you got to just go put in the work every single day. And where it washes out, we don't really know. But none of us know. We can all predict and wonder and think and hope and wish, but at the end of the day, we got to stay healthy, number one. to be competitive and relevant in the Eastern Conference, we have to stay healthy. And I think our medical group is top-notch. They're on top of it. We're healthy right now, and we want to keep it that way. If we continue to grow at the pace I'm seeing us grow, I don't know where we can be, but I know we're going to be competitive every single night. There's a window here in the Eastern Conference. Thankfully, that guy, Mr. James left the conference, and that helps a little bit. But we did add one named Kawhi Leonard as well. So, we're going to have our hands full every single night, whether we're playing against an Eastern team, a Western team. We don't have the luxury of just coasting into games. We got to go after this thing. But I think our group is motivated right now. They're excited for this. They see a window of opportunity, and it's exciting.
How big of a challenge is it for these guys, these first 5 games? You get to open at home against the Bucks, but then head out on the road for 4 games in your first season.
Welcome to the NBA, NBA first-time head coach, here we go. The schedule, everybody's playing a tough schedule, and, it'd be great to start at home a little bit more, but this is what we're dealt, and we got to go play it. So in some ways, I don't mind it being on the road. Sometimes you build a bunker mentality. We're on the road, everybody's against us. We played well so far on the road here in the preseason. So hopefully it just bunkers us in. Everybody's tied together. We're pulling for each other. But it'd be nice to get off to a good start on Wednesday night for sure.
I know you said there's so much more to you than this, but we will have history Wednesday night. You'll be the first Hispanic head coach in NBA history. Have you thought about that at all? How much thought process have you given to that since you've gotten this job and just being able to take the floor and be able to hold that moniker for a whole segment of people in this country?
Well, I'm proud of that. I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at today. I think about all the people that helped me get here more than anything. It's an honor to be in this position. I didn't do it alone, and I'm proud of that. And I think about all those people that pushed me, helped me grow to get to this point. I don't really think about being linked to the first of anything. I'm really one of 30 in the world, which is an honor. That alone to me is, I would have never expected to be here. I would have never in a million years thought I'd be an NBA head coach someday. That was never my drive or my thoughts as I started this journey. But my approach has been trying to get better every single year, every single day, grow, treat people the right way, never be satisfied. And I've tried to live my life that way, and I'm very fortunate to be here sitting as the Charlotte Hornets head coach, and I'm going to do everything I can to be here for as long as I can.
We also know that family is obviously really important to you. How excited is the family getting to see Dad out there, to see the husband out there, and really kind of take the reins of the Charlotte Hornets team?
Well, I think it's exciting for them. They get to cheer for Dad and root for Dad, and then, but at the end of the day, when I come home, I'm just Dad. I'm just Dad, and they want me to play, football and throw the ball and get in the pool and, make some food and be Dad. But it's going to be a joy just to be out there and see my family in the stands and know they're a major part of this, and that's why I'm out here doing this. I want to enjoy it with them. There's pressure that comes with this job. I know that. There's pressure, and they feel that pressure now. There's a little bit of anxiety in the Borrego household right now because we want to win and we want to do well, and they want Dad to succeed. But we're going to enjoy it too. It's a real privilege and honor to be here, and hopefully I can just be Dad sometimes though when I get home.
Well, hopefully there'll be another 18,000 plus folks that you can add to that family now here with the Charlotte Hornets when we tip off on Wednesday against the Milwaukee Bucks. Coach, thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch up with Coach next week on the Hornets.com Coaches Show.
Be here. To get your 2018 season membership, call 704-HORNETS. This is Buzz City.